Hey, it's Bruce from TPC. I'm here today with Justin England. He is our lead buyer. He's also former pro cyclist, mustache enthusiast, and also saddle connoisseur.
That's right. I'm excited to come here to talk today about Specialized saddles. We are now carrying the full line of parts and equipment from Specialized, including their amazing saddle lineup. Back in my racing days, we didn't have anywhere near the technology and comfort and variability and performance that comes with this saddle lineup. So excited to talk to you about it today.
Yeah, a lot of riders really like to ride Specialized. They use what's called body geometry. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
That's right. The body geometry team at Specialized was developed over 25 years ago, focused on the touch points for the rider. So the bars, the shoes, as well as obviously the saddles. That's led to many of the technological developments that we're going to talk about here today and been a cornerstone of Specialized, differentiating itself from other players out in the market.
Yeah, they use a lot of fit data. They've got blood flow measurement, pressure mapping. They use a lot of blind testing to really dial in the comfort of these saddles. But there are a lot of models, a lot of different versions, and even for me, it can get pretty confusing. So I think we're gonna try and break it down, make it as simple as possible so you can pick the perfect saddle for you.
It can be confusing, but really it comes down to there are four major models that Specialized has, the TPC carries, the Power, the Roman, the Phenom, as well as out here on the end, the Cetero. We're not going to spend a ton of time talking about the Cetero today because that's primarily a TT and triathlon saddle, but these three here in the middle are the mainstays of their lineup and going to cover most riders out there.
Yeah, you can use it for road, for gravel, for mountain biking, and I think, as I understand it, the best way to choose which model to go for is sort of your riding position.
Riding position, yep. The Power is going to be for the rider that's in a more aggressive position, leaning forward. Think about your road racers or your XC racers that are really on the nose of their saddle in an aggressive position.
A lot of saddle to bar drop, right?
You got it,
you
got it. Whereas the Roman is kind of be in that middle ground where you're becoming a little bit more endurance focused. And then all the way to the other end of the spectrum, the Phenom is where you're in a more upright position, a little bit more focused on mountain bikers on this end of the spectrum, but really all three of these saddles work great for road, mountain, or gravel.
So I've spent a lot of time on the Roman. I think it's a super comfortable saddle, but as I've gotten more aggressive, I guess with my riding position, I've sort of...
Racier,
yeah. I've moved to the Power, and you know, it's a snub nose saddle. It's shorter than most saddles. A lot of companies have copied that design pretty much, but it gives you a little more room to really bend over. It also comes in two versions, the Power, so that's another complication. There's the regular Power and the Power Arc.
Yeah, the Arc is gonna have a little bit more of a curve to it, allowing for riders to kind of pick what works best for them.
Yeah, the way I've heard it described is the regular saddle is like sitting on like a wooden plank. The Arc is like sitting on a wooden log, so it's a little rounder.
Maybe not quite as hard as a plank and a log,
more comfortable, but yeah.
The analogy works, we'll take it.
And usually, just as generally the case, but not always, more flexible riders are gonna prefer sort of the rounder arc shape.
Yeah.
And then the Roman here, I rode this saddle for a really long time. It's really comfortable. It has, you know, this sort of like curve with a pocket that sort of lets you settle into the saddle. I really like that about it.
They say sitting in the saddle rather than on the saddle with the Roman.
And then the Phenom, really, it's just a little bit flatter, you know, for the more upright position, little thicker padding. Yeah, definitely feels comfortable.
For sure. And you can see all of their saddle models start with a cutout to alleviate pressure on those kind of soft tissue areas.
And then the other thing to really consider is the saddle width.
So Specialized makes saddles in four different widths, 130, 143, 155, and 168 millimeters. Every saddle is going to come in those middle two, 143 and 155, which are by far the most popular widths, kind of cover most riders out there. But then they make some of the saddles in the wider 168 and some of the saddles in the more narrow 130.
Yeah, and really, you just measure your sit bones. You can do that at home, you can do that at a bike shop, and then you use that information to sort of pick what width fits you best. Once you've got that dialed in, then we got four different levels. We've got, starting at the bottom, comp. Above that is expert, pro, then at the top is S-Works.
You got it. You're gonna get identical saddle shape at every level, but essentially the comp at the bottom of the level is gonna be steel rail with a plastic shell and what they call level 2 padding.
Above, little thicker padding, right?
A little bit thicker, yes. Above that at the Expert, you're gonna move up to hollow tie rails, titanium rails, but still have the plastic shell and level 2 padding. Above that at Pro, you're gonna get the hollow tie rails again, but this time you're gonna get a carbon shell and level 1 padding, so a little bit thinner padding this time around, a little bit more performance focused. And then of course, up at the top end of this spectrum, the S-Works, full carbon rail, full carbon shell, and level 1 padding.
Yeah, and it should be mentioned that the carbon rails, they're super nice, but they do have a rider weight limit.
Good call.
240 pounds, so I'm gonna have to lay off the pizzas for a little bit. So basically, you figure out what shape you want, what width you want, and then what level you want. But then,
Specialized comes with a whole nother layer of technology to make the riders happy. So beyond the 3 saddles, they also have 2 different technologies of padding that they've come with. One is called Mimic, which is essentially a lower density foam that fills the cutouts of the saddle. You can see these are both power saddles here, but the cutout is covered in by this low density foam, and it's actually noticeably softer.
yeah, I was really surprised. I'd never touched one before, but the transition is pretty cool.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. The intention here is when you're riding a full cutout saddle, especially if you're riding for a long period of time, sometimes you can get some soft tissue swelling in that part of the body, and this low density foam provides just enough positive pressure to kind of reduce that issue.
Yeah, it's very cool. This whole nose too is like a little different foam padding.
Yep.
And Mimic saddles, they cost the same as a standard saddle. So at whatever level you get the Mimic version, it costs the same.
Yep.
But if you want to go crazy, get the best of the best.
The mirror technology.
We've got 2 mirror saddles here. This is an S-Works power mirror. This one's an S-Works Roman mirror. They look pretty wild. Can you tell me what's going on with this?
Yeah, so this is, again, developed by the Body Geometry team, a 3D printed liquid polymer that creates this kind of honeycomb technology throughout the saddle. So rather than foam, there's this honeycomb that kind of provides all the support. And really what it does is spreads the weight of the rider across a broader area, eliminating kind of those really hot points on the saddle. Really comfortable. I ride these saddles, they are fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard from multiple people actually that this is the most comfortable saddle they've ever ridden. It's also probably the most expensive.
It is. It comes with a price. Of course, this is the S-Works end of the line, so you're already up there in price, but the mirror technology adds on all the way up to between $425 and $450. In my mind, if you're spending a lot of time on the bike, it's well worth it.
Yeah, and I've actually never touched one of these in person. Now that it feels crazy.
Yeah.
That it's so cool how the density changes
Yeah.
too. So we got a lot of options in front of us, Justin. Can you tell us what is the saddle that you pick to ride on your bike?
So back in my racing days, I definitely would have been a power guy. Now I'm more of a Roman guy. I'm in the middle there.
All right. What level?
Oh, I'll go S-Works, 100%.
S-Works Roman. Well, for me, I'm riding the power saddle. Usually, I slam all my stems. I got a lot of saddle.
You're still trying to go fast.
Yeah, yeah. While I'm still young, I guess. I ride a 155. Got the wide butt, or wide sit bones. But I probably will go for the expert level.
Yeah.
So get the hollow tie rails, but save a little money.
Get that level 2 padding.
Yeah.
I like it.
If you want to experience blissful comfort on your next bike ride, make sure you check out all the Specialized saddles. They're available at www.tpc.bike. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.